Curious, authoritative, the Vishnu Purana functions as a detailed cosmological map outlining the precise physical and spiritual architecture of the Hindu universe. To understand how this universe is structured, we have to start inside the royal palace of King Uttanapada. The king had 2 wives, but his attention was entirely divided. He favored his queen Suruchi, while largely ignoring his other wife, Suniti. This division came to a head when Suniti's 5-year-old son, Prince Dhruva, walked into the throne room. Seeing his father, the boy climbed up to sit on the king's lap. Before he could settle, his stepmother, Suruchi, violently blocked him. She told the child he was unworthy of the king's throne because he was born from the wrong womb. The king sat in silence, implicitly endorsing the rejection. Heartbroken, Dhruva ran to his birth mother, Suniti. She gave him a piece of radical advice. Stop chasing the temporary lap of a mortal king, and instead seek a permanent position through the supreme deity, Lord Vishnu. Determined, the 5-year-old took her words literally. He turned his back on the palace and walked alone into the wild forest, resolving to achieve a station higher than any earthly king could grant. That earthly rejection was the necessary catalyst. To achieve cosmic permanence, a person must first realize that human power is fragile, temporary, and subject to the whims of others. Guided deep into the Maduvana forest by the sage Narada, Dhruva began the practice of tapas. In this tradition, tapas is an escalating spiritual heat, a force that generates immeasurable pressure on the cosmos. Dhruva entered a state of complete stillness. He stopped consuming food and water, anchoring his entire consciousness onto a single mantra. Up in the heavenly realms, Indra, the king of the gods, monitored this rising energy. Indra feared that if a mortal child generated enough power, he could physically displace the gods from their thrones. Indra deployed a barrage of terrifying illusions to break the boy's concentration. Fire-breathing beasts and howling jackals surrounded Dhruva, screaming and snapping at his face. Dhruva did not flinch. Because his mind was locked onto a reality beyond his physical senses, the sensory data of the illusions simply failed to register. By ignoring these attacks, Dhruva demonstrated that the power of tapas is generated entirely from within. Since he wasn't asking the gods for permission to exist, Indra had no leverage to stop his ascent. To reach the final stage of concentration, the 5-year-old performed an ultimate act of physiological control. He stopped breathing. The physical reaction across the universe was catastrophic. Rivers froze mid-flow, the earth shook, and the very air became thin and stagnant. Because Dhruva had unified his mind with the cosmos, his body was no longer an isolated unit. By suspending his own breath, he was literally suffocating the breath of the entire universe. The celestial gods abandoned their disrupted realms and fled to Lord Vishnu, begging him to intervene before reality itself collapsed. The sheer willpower of a single human mind had created a physical chokehold on existence, forcing the supreme creator to descend to earth. Lord Vishnu manifested in the forest and touched the boy's cheek with his divine conch, replacing Dhruva's hunger and anger with a vision of the universe as a singular, connected whole. Vishnu offered the boy any reward he desired. Dhruva did not ask for his father's throne. Instead, Vishnu granted him Dhruva Loka, the highest station in the cosmos. This reward solved the problem of Pralaya, or cosmic dissolution. In Hindu cosmology, the lower realms, Earth, the underworld, and the heavens, are periodically destroyed by fire at the end of each age. While the lower worlds burn, the universe's highest point remains untouched. Dhruva was placed at this absolute zenith, safe from destruction. This position is structurally higher than even the most revered celestial beings, placing him above the orbit of the 7 sages. We can see the physical proof of this hierarchy in our night sky. Every star and planet traces a massive circle as the Earth rotates, revolving around a single, unmoving point, the pole star. The Big Dipper, known in ancient texts as the 7 sages, eternally circles this fixed axis. The sages themselves point to and revolve around Dhruva. A child who was denied the lap of a mortal father transformed his pain into a focus so unshakable that he became the anchor for the universe itself. Today, the entire starry cosmos rests upon him.